Georgia starts spring football. We're going to have all the coverage for you over on Dawg Post. Make sure you're signing up for our newsletter right down below. And, we're going to get a look at practice on Thursday, see what the Dogs have got in order. The biggest thing I think that will pop out immediately are the wide receivers. How explosive are they? What do they look like? Are they catching everything? So there's all of that. But this is an important time of the year, no question. We're in a strange moment at Georgia. A moment that we've not seen probably for 5 years, something like that, maybe longer. There's people are not as excited as they have been, and going into the 21 season, I think there was a lot of excitement because you thought JT Daniels was going to be the guy that was going to take you to a national championship, and that's a great lesson. Coming into 2025 and beyond, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen next in any of these seasons. No one at all would have argued in favor of Stetson Bennett being the starting quarterback or playing quarterback at Georgia. But, you could see immediately in 21 that there was something going on with JT Daniels that didn't make sense. And when Stetson, came back, played so well against UAB, everybody was like, well, we got a backup. And, and then against South Carolina, he did not play well. JT Daniels still started. And soon thereafter, though, Georgia needed Stetson Bennett. He had to perform, and he did. Who are they going to need going into 2025? Who's going to be the person that steps up and on the front seven? There's question marks there for the Dogs. But this team... So there's question marks pretty much everywhere in college football. You take a look at Tennessee, they lose their best running back, the best running back they've had in a while, certainly the best running back in the SEC last year. And the way they got thumped against Ohio State causes you to wonder about their defense. I mean, Georgia put up some points on Tennessee as well. You look at Alabama. I mean, there's question marks all over the place at Alabama, no question. You look at Florida. Is Florida really going to, pop up? The pressure at LSU. The same thing going on really at Clemson. They really think they could be pretty good this season. We'll see. And then when you think about across the country, Texas for sure is going to matter a lot. They've got transition on their team as well. So there's nowhere that doesn't have change right now. This is the time of the season the time of the year where you assess what you've got right now, because it can still change a little bit. That the next time the portal's open, you could see Georgia lose some guys. You could, or you might not. I mean, right now, by my math, they're slightly over on the scholarship number. So it's possible they know someone who's not going to be there and all this stuff. There's a million different things that can happen between now and the fall in terms of the scholarship table. But this is a team, a program that, if you put a bet on them to win the national championship, it would not be wild at all. In fact, there's really 4 teams that everybody's looking at that are there to, win the national championship. And that group is the same as it was last year. Georgia. Well, now let me go in order, okay? Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Oregon. That's the group. I mean, Penn State's a little bit outside of that group, and then it really drops after that. Penn State's one of the teams that has a lot of returning pieces, but no one trusts them for a lot of good reason. And I'm just looking at this list of teams that have, pretty good odds to win the national championship. And Ohio State, new quarterback. Texas, new quarterback. Georgia, new quarterback. Oregon, new quarterback. Penn State, same quarterback. Notre Dame, new quarterback. Alabama, new quarterback. Tennessee, same quarterback. Clemson, same quarterback. LSU, same quarterback. So you've got some transition there. Mississippi, they're going to have a new quarterback. They're going to have to go on the road in certain places. No one's in a really great position. This is not like last season where it was pretty obvious Ohio State was going to be the team to beat. Matt DeBerry and I have gone back and forth about Texas and the importance of this season for Sark and Texas. There's no certainty they win the league. Texas, we'll know right away with Texas. They're going up to Ohio State game 1. So I don't know who will win that game. I think that's a good question. But the loser of that game is hardly out of it. But Texas plays one game in September. That's it, and then their schedule gets pretty legitimate after that. I mean they're going to go to Florida. They could lose that game. I don't know. Oklahoma. I can't pick Texas against Oklahoma anytime soon. They go to Kentucky. They go to State. They play Vanderbilt. They play at Georgia. Host Arkansas. Host Texas A&M. That's a tough close. That's a tough close. So that's where we're at with things. I think for Georgia, the biggest thing you've got to get. I've talked about the four major things: quarterback, offensive line, receivers, defensive front. All of those things are going to be important for Georgia coming into this season. It's it's a transitional year, and I think a lot of people thought 22 was a transitional year. They won the national championship. I think a lot of people thought that correctly that 19 was a transitional year. It was. Obviously 20 was. It's a transitional year at Georgia, but it's in many ways it's that way for pretty much everybody in college football. That's the part that's kind of, I don't know about discouraging. That's the part that's noticeable in this year's college football is there's not an obvious favorite. And Kirby Smart, outside of Dabo Swinney, and I think Kirby's a better coach than Dabo and have thought that for some time. Outside of Dabo, there's really nobody that's just like, wow, this guy, there's no Nick Saban around. So there's no one that's just going to outcoach people. And, Marcus Freeman outcoached Kirby in the Sugar Bowl, but I don't know if Marcus Freeman can do that multiple years in a row. I don't know. That's what we're playing for. And, Notre Dame's had some changes too, but if Gunnar Stockton plays the way he did in the Sugar Bowl, Georgia should be pretty good. If Georgia's offensive line played the way that Georgia played in the Sugar Bowl, they're going to have some problems. So what's it going to be like when you marry solid play on the offensive line with good quarterbacking? Because it was rare that happened in 24. It was rare. It may have happened in the second half against Clemson, the second half against Alabama. And even then, I can't say that the entire time in that game. And there were some moments in the 8 quarters of Mississippi State and Auburn where Georgia played pretty well. But this run game, if it doesn't get it together, if you don't, Nate Frazier's a good running back. Dwight Phillips has got serious explosion. But if there's nowhere to run, then there's nowhere to run to. So this is the offense has got its work cut out for him. Now, I will say this. I thought it was pretty bad last year, personally. It's not as bad as it seemed. But it was not good. There was nothing good about last year's offense. To go from, however many years in a row, from 21 to 23, having really, really good explosive offenses, and then just to regress in the way Georgia did, fewer 40-point games than seasons gone by. Only one game with a 200-yard rush, with Georgia running for 200 yards. That's not Georgia football. But we'll see what Kirby has to say. He's always got a plan, a message, I guess you could say, that he tries to speak through the media. And then on Wednesday, we've got Pro Day at Georgia. A lot of guys, Jalen Walker, Mikael Williams, Malachi Starks in particular, can make a lot of money, or maybe they already have. This is their opportunity if they want to work out. Some of these guys, it wouldn't make sense to work out, but that will have for you as well. But it's a busy time of the year at Georgia. Basketball is going to go to the NCAA basketball tournament for the first time in 11 seasons, 10 years. Baseball's a top 10 team. I think softball is as well. Tennis is under a new head coach. For the men, the women won the indoor national championship, if I'm not mistaken. It's a busy time of the year, and for most people that watch, Dawg Post, it's about football, and I get that. And And we're getting to the point right now where football is going to really be able to shine. Spring practice starts. By the time you're seeing this, it'll be 24 hours. So stay tuned to Dawg Post. Make sure you're signing up for our newsletter. We'll see you down below. Thanks for watching.